Sure.
Because I don't want to say, oh my goodness, let me run in there.
Right.
Make sure I don't have my business phone. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Here we go.
Well, this is nice that y'all do this for businesses.
Yeah, we started this around the pandemic era. One of the reasons. Oh, I need to... No, I'm good. Okay, I think we are ready. Well, hello and welcome back to another WCN Live here in the Wilson County News Break Room. My name is Kristen Weaver. I am Director of Operations, and today my guest is...
Sonia Campbell with Leroy's Trading Post, LLC.
I'm going to move that over. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're excited about our talk today about the business that you have in Stockdale. Before we get started, I would like to thank our sponsor. We have Red Wing Shoes located at 1413 Southwest Military Drive in San Antonio. Same family, same name, same location since 1969. Thank you so much, Kenny Kaufman with Red Wing Shoes. We appreciate you, and give them a shout out. They're tagged in this video, and look for their ad every week in the Wilson County News. He has some really cute messages and really great shoes, so check him out. All right. Well, the next thing we have on our agenda is to draw a winner. So reminding everyone that when we are live, we welcome you to post a comment, a question, say hi, anything, and that will get your name into the next week's drawing. So before we do that, I'm going to share this video real quick. And my page. Okay. All right. So Sonia, if I could have you draw me a winner from last week's comments. Okay, great. And our winner is Candace Gonzalez. Congratulations, Candace. I'll be reaching out to you on Facebook Messenger later, and you win a C Street gift shop gift bag, and we'll put that aside for you to pick up at your convenience. So congratulations, y'all. Be sure to share this video. This is going to be a topic that is, I think, very interesting. And again, I'm excited. We're talking about Stockdale.
Yes.
We don't get too many guests from Stockdale in here. We need to do more of them. So, okay, Sonia, introductions. Tell me a little about yourself.
Well, I'm Sonia Campbell, and I am not born and raised in Stockdale. I'm basically from San Antonio, but I'm making now my transition out to Stockdale. And we own, like I said, I mentioned earlier, the Leroy's Trading Post on Main Street in Stockdale. It's a vintage antique store and a little bit more. We do have some other stuff that we carry, but really it's just a really nice place for our customers to come in. How did I get started? I can tell you right now, my passion goes back to like 42 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I started as a hobby. And I think a lot of people in this type of business start as a hobby. Some of us take it into a career. But I did it as a hobby for, I want to say 40. And then 2 years ago, I decided to retire. And I said, but I'm not ready to retire. So let me go ahead and keep my business going. And that's when I decided to get a business, actually a real building and inventory.
Brick and mortar.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's how I got started.
So what would you call hobby? Like the side of enjoying antiques, finding nice furniture? What's the...
A hobby is something to looking for those treasures, discovering the past, and realizing that, wow, my grandmother had this, and I want one, or I want to replace something that I had before. And you start as a hobby because it's not something you need. Okay, a hobby is not something you really need.
Right.
It's something that you want, that you really would want to have. And I started that, and next thing you know, I have an inventory of hobbies, of things that I collected.
Obviously, you have a good eye you must have a good eye to know what to carry and to have the type of products that you do, the antiques and furniture.
Yes, and I can tell you, collecting and doing this type of business is like any other business.
Okay.
You have to learn. You're always learning something.
Yeah.
But it's not about, for example, it's not about learning about how to do Facebook or how to do Instagram. It's about learning about the past. What is the past on this piece?
Oh.
So it is basically learning, because some of us I don't remember a piece from 1900s, so I have to look it up.
That's true.
And I have to look it up and I have to
There's
learn
a
from
lot
it.
of learning through
Because
that.
there is going to be customers that are going to know the product. I don't know the product. So part of
see.
that is learning.
Right,
Learning
right.
what you're buying. And then it gets interesting because you're like, oh my
does.
goodness, I did not know that about this.
That is
Or this was made
fascinating.
only here in this part of the country.
Yeah.
And it traveled to the South Texas. How did it get here? Has a history. It's all about
Yes.
history.
And you know all of that about every piece.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Well, tell me, what is your goal or mission with Leroy's Trading Post?
My goal, first of all, is the community. Because when I came to Stockdale, I wanted to make a difference on Main Street. Keep in mind, to me, history, America started as a Main Street. America started as a trading post, trading with the Indians.
Yeah.
We traded with, we traded amongst each other for the goods that we needed. So I ended up with the word trading post because it's something that's slowly going away. Nobody even knows what it means now.
Right.
So then what is my mission is to be able to preserve the past and the history. When I came to Stockdale, I saw the beautiful bank. I saw the beautiful downtown, the main street that they have.
Yeah.
Don't let it go down. We need to bring it back up.
Yeah.
I used to be 12 years old and I used to visit Stockdale. And I saw Stockdale when it was booming, where they had a car dealership, where they had the parades, the Christmas parades, the jubilees. I come back at the age of 62 and I'm like, what happened? So my mission is, how can we get the community involved to bring this town back up?
Right.
And sell what I love, share my passion,
Right.
which is the past, the history, through my furniture, through my glassware, but as well as to teach our young people
Absolutely.
what e-commerce is.
Yeah.
What is e-commerce? What is retail? What is finding a job as a part-time job to prepare them for the future? That's how I feel the engagement of the community coming together. Because I think our youth is the one that's going to continue to carry that.
True. And see what they value.
Yep.
Right. So you guys, you and your husband, y'all
Yes.
found Stockdale. That was back in 2020, around the pandemic, you said?
Yes, and we were visiting my father-in-law in Lavernia. Keep in mind, I was 12 years old the last time I visited Stockdale.
Right.
And I told my husband, I said, Stockdale, how far is it? He goes, it's only 16 miles. My father-in-law lives in Lavernia.
Yeah.
And my stepmom. And I said, I want to go. I'm picturing this great town like I remembered. I'm like, what happened? So that's how I rediscovered, again, come
Right.
back to Stockdale. And that's when I said, you know what, I want to live here.
Yeah.
And I want the bank. So I told my husband, because he had promised he was going to buy me a place. So I was already still holding him onto that. And I said, I want the bank. And he says, okay, it's for sale. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Got the bank. And right as closing, we were going to close on the bank. Of course, you have to do an inspection. My husband calls me. I'm at work. My husband calls me, texts me and says, hey, on your next break, call me. It's urgent. Called him. What's going on? He goes, I had to drop the contract. Why? I mean, you should have seen me.
So
I was devastated
disappointed.
because this was it is a beautiful bank.
Yeah.
He says the repair is too much for us. He goes, it's way out of our league. He goes, unless all of our retirement, we put it all in there,
Right.
and you're going to have to really continue to work because we're going to have to build up our nest.
Yeah.
You have to be logical about what you're going to do
Yeah.
when you're going to do something. So I said, so does that mean I don't get it? He goes, it's exactly what it means. You don't get this. And I said, okay. He goes, but I got you the old post office. Of course, I was still not happy. I was not happy. I was like,
okay.
but that's not what I wanted. I wanted the bank. I'm not kidding you. It took me 2 months to get over it. I was so heartbroken because I didn't get that bank. But, at the end of the day, you have to do what's right if you're going to go into a business like this as well. It's all being logical about what you have to do. So we did. So my husband says, look, I'm going to make it pretty for you.
Right.
Still not the bank. And today it's still not the bank.
Yeah, you still have to tell them that.
But it's okay. I make it appealing for the customer to come in. So yeah, that's how we ended up in Stockdale,
What a great story. And I love that because you like stories and you like the past and you tell those stories through your furniture. You also want people in the community, you welcome them in, right?
Yes.
And just to talk about the past.
Oh,
and
yes.
Storytelling. How does that go? What's your effort
Well,
there?
one of the things that I first did when I came in was we set up a little like two tables with 4 chairs in each one, and we offered coffee, we offered some sweets, and we told them, come on in, come on in, and let's talk and tell me. And they knew we were newcomers, so a lot of them did come in, and some of them did buy some stuff, but a lot of them had stories to tell me about Stockdale that I didn't know. And so, and one of the nicest things that happens in things like this is people reconnecting. That's what really, I told my husband, oh, look at this 82-year-old person has not seen this 80-year-old person. So from that, guess what we did? So we did that, and of course during pandemic we couldn't do it. We had to shut down. That's what delayed us almost a year. But after that, we were doing that, and we were very careful and all that good stuff. But then I told my husband, I want to celebrate anybody having a birthday over 80 years old.
That's
So
nice.
we did that as a mission last year, and we ended up with 4 people. One of them was 90. 2 of them were 90. 2 of them were 90. One of them was 87. The other one was 82. And then we had the other 2 that came in after that. We're not 80s, but we put them in there. They were 79, but I said, you're close enough.
Yeah.
But it was a girl thing. And so Leroy had to leave the store. He would make the coffee for us and get everything ready for us. But I wanted the ladies to, it was a surprise too. Hey, can you come in? You know, they're like, oh yeah, you know. And we would have just a small little cake with coffee. And of course, some of the ladies really got carried away. They started bringing gifts. And I said, okay, I got to bring flowers in. But it's all about the community, bringing the community together. And again, some of their children called me and said, wow, that was a nice thing you did for my mom. I said, it was just the girls, you know. I'm saying,
precious.
I said, it's about the girls, you know. And so, you know, we hope we can do other things like that. Can we do something for, you know, special needs maybe? But I have to be careful because, again, there's got to be enough space, which I do, the enter the door and all that stuff. Or can we do something for, you know, we used to do coat drives in San Antonio. Can we do something like that for the community? Again, you know, all those things have to come in place and how we do things. But
Nice. Okay, so you mentioned Leroy. Did you already explain, like, how did you come up with the name Leroy's Trading Post? And who is Leroy?
Leroy is my husband. He's Benny Leroy.
Okay.
So when we were looking for the name, and we knew we wanted to name, I wanted to make it different. I didn't want to call it just antique and vintage. I didn't want to call it just a store. I said, let's do a trading post. People will come in and they'll know what a trading post is. No, it didn't hit a lot of people, but it was okay. So what is the name we're going to name it, Benny? And he says, I don't know. I said, hey, what's your middle name? He says, Leroy. I said, that's it. Leroy is a vintage name. Let's carry your name in there. Why my name? This is antiques and vintage. I said, because it's vintage. And I think that they'll like that name, the little ring. And so he says, okay. So that's how we came with his name. We thought about a lot of names, but again, I wanted it different because I knew this business was going to have to be different, especially when pandemic hit us. How are we going to sell it? We can't let our customers in. And I was not about to put anybody at risk by letting people come in and not telling you that they had just had, you know, this thing, COVID, and oh yeah, I had it 7 days ago. Oh, it's 15 days ago. What are you doing in here? Never had that, but what if that would have happened? And then I had a dear 82-year-old person drinking coffee there. Then couldn't take the risk. So that's how we ended up with the Leroy Trading Post, and he's there. He makes hot dogs.
But you're the one in charge.
I'm the one in charge. It's my business. It's my business.
It might be his name, but
it's my business. And he, like I said, he's my right hand. Leroy is my right hand.
Nice.
He's the one that helps me load, unload. Sometimes he'll help me clean. I always use him and said, hey, I'm putting this post. I'm doing this picture. What do you think? And I get a point of view from a male's perspective. And sometimes he'll tell me, it doesn't look good. or guess what, it looks too dark, or you got too much stuff, it's too clutter. So he's my right hand person. If I'm out of the office, he's in there, he's in charge,
Yeah.
and he knows that.
Yeah.
But he'll still call me, hey, I have a lady here. And so again, if you have a partner, that's awesome. And Leroy's my partner. He's my husband.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. So, okay, you are, in case you're just joining us and you're hearing this, but Leroy's Trading Post is located in Stockdale on Main Street.
Correct.
And you're in the old post office
office.
building. Okay. Fascinating, because I hadn't made that connection yet
Yes.
about the old building. Now, tell us about your inventory and maybe help us visualize what you have in the store.
Okay, so this post office was the second post office built in Stockdale. Okay, Shirley Dudley has the original one. And yes, that's her little building is the one.
That was the original.
That was the original post office. Then they came to the one I bought, and it was this orange colored brick, and I'm like, no, my building can't look that way. And I kept looking at the bank, I want that still. And Benny's like, no, you're not getting the bank. You got this already. I said, well, you got to paint it. And he says, well, what color do you want? I said, let's do red and white. Okay, let's do red and white. So we painted, it came out. The guys did an awesome job. They did a really fantastic job. As you walk in to the business, you see picture this big room. I mean, it's long and narrow. I divided in 3 sections, and the reason why it's divided in 3 sections, and this is divided with furniture, okay?
Okay.
Because I classify the furniture.
Different rooms.
Yes. They're classified as mid-century, English furniture, and it could be American furniture. It could be maple, or it could be, woods are very important to learn too, and that's I found out that.
Wow.
So I have to really know my wood, because people will ask you, okay, so if you're saying that this is mid-century, is this type of wood it's made out of? So that's how we divide our furniture. So if you walk in and you see in sections, that big long room, why does she have them in sections? It's because it's a theme of what that furniture style is. Then you have another room. As you walk in, you have another room to your right, and that other room contains nothing but china cabinets. And in that china cabinets, you'll find a wall of mirrors also in that room. So it's a whole wall of mirrors, vintage, antique pieces. And then you have in the china cabinets, you have the nice collectible china.
Okay.
And the china that I have could be anywhere from, I don't try to offer a customer a set of 4, because traditionally it's 6.
Okay.
And a lot of people will come and say, oh, I need 6. So we try to do the 6. Now, we still sell pieces, because I do get that baby boomer that's going to pass down her china to her granddaughter and says, I have 2 pieces that are really worn out. Do you have this model? Yes, we do. So we sell replacements. That's another thing we offer is replacement pieces. So you have that, and then you've got some lamps in that room. Then you walk to the next room. The next room, that's all shelves with glassware and paintings. And that's what we have in that room. And again, from milk glass to ruby glass to some of the crystal that you have, that we have. And we have paintings. And we also have some pieces, maybe some tables that are antique tables in there. But they're the ones that you fold, because remember, you have to keep that space where people can still walk and they can, visualize what they're looking at. And then towards the back of the long room, you'll see a showcase, a big showcase to your right. That's for the men. That's collectibles for the men.
Okay.
We're talking beer glasses, dominoes, and they're vintage. All this stuff in there is vintage.
Right.
There may be some antiques, but Lone Star, for example, you can't keep it in stock. The minute you post it, there's 3 or 4 people wanting to buy that.
Wow.
Spurs, or there's a particular football team. So things like that, that's for the men, that's collectible. Fishing gear that my husband collects.
Neat.
Then on this side, there's 2 more showcases, very narrow. And these showcases are also either, one of them is an antique and the other one is getting ready to be antiques. Some of them came from special place. They all have stories. All my displays have stories. from I don't know, you probably weren't even born, but it was Frost. It was Frost in San Antonio. I don't know if you remember that the store. It was a
recognize the
very,
name.
very nice store. So those showcases are from there, and then this other one came from the long one for the men. That one came from a pharmacy, and it's also very old. Came out of Castroville.
And you were talking about like the display cases
The
themselves,
display
right?
cases,
Wow.
yeah, and they're beautiful. But again, people want to buy them. They're not for sale. I can't put my stuff on the floor. Wait until I get another one, you know. But
Oh my gosh.
you know, and Leroy's always telling customers, everything in the store is for sale except my wife and myself. And I said, no, you can't sell my showcases.
But not those either, yeah.
But yeah, that's what you see when you and a collection of books, old books. Yes,
Nice.
we do have old books. We try to collect leather binding books, but we also collect a little bit of everything, you know. And for children, if there's something, we normally end up giving those away because we want kids to learn to read. We want them to appreciate something. But again, you're not going to find my stuff with stains. It's going to be a nice pre-owned little book.
Right.
Or if you're going to find a nice leather book, you're going to see the age of it because, again, this is a leather book. And I tell my husband says, you love books. Do you read all? I said, I read most of those books, yes.
Wow.
So I do have a collection of books on a wall.
Nice. Very nice.
So yeah.
Wow. So you probably didn't envision this, but you talked about how you kind of ended up opening the store and then the pandemic hit. And so then you had to figure out how to make do. And
Yes.
that's sort of how your business went to more of an online, how you have such an online presence.
Right.
Tell us about that. How do we shop online with your store?
So
And how do people find you?
it came, pandemic came. We're like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? So at that point, Leroy and I were talking one day, and we're doing. I said, Benny's telling me, he goes, Sonia, what are you gonna do with all this stuff now? I said, don't worry, I got a plan. Didn't have a plan. So one day, I went onto a Facebook market, and I was like, a friend of mine at work, because I was still working, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I work for a company that this is all they do. But I can't steal their ideas, okay? Because I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I said, if they can do it, how can I do it? So then a friend of mine says, have you tried Facebook Market? Now, keep in mind, I was not familiar with Facebook. I didn't know much about it. He says, try there. So one day, Leroy and I decided to do a display. And he says, yeah, I think this will sell. At the time, we were just saying, oh, make a display or set it up this way. We weren't using the word staging because now you have to stage this product.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, let's do this and let's do that. And within a matter of 2 hours, I think it was 2 hours, I got like 6 phone calls and I did $1,200.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I said, oh, this can be done. And so that's where we started. Then from there, I basically, my friends, word of mouth, friends in San Antonio knew about me. And so then the time came that Instagram came in. And I was afraid, I'm not going to lie to you, because thing is so fast. And I said, wow. And you have to, again, present your product in a way that it's appealing to that customer. Because I had high ticket items, I'm not selling $20 items. It has to be good. Because otherwise the customer's going to be turned off. Why am I buying a product for $500? No. So staging it, making sure that it's appealing, making sure they can imagine this piece of item
in their home.
In their home.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's how we got started with Instagram.
Very interesting.
And next thing you know, my customers started calling, and my customers started, emailing, and you have to be very quick in responding because if you don't, you get rated. Bad communication.
Right.
A lack of communication. So we had to learn that. Luckily, we never had that. But I started seeing other places were like, oh, they rate you. Oh, that's not good. And I said, I better not do that. So it really kept us on. You have to be on your toes on that. So yeah.
Good customer service and response. Well,
Response and being able to work with a customer, like you said.
Yeah.
If the customer says, I'm sorry, I can't get there till this weekend. Okay. how do you tell them nicely, I can't hold it?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, most of my customers will say, I will send you the money.
Mm-hmm.
They will send the money.
Yeah.
Other customers will say, hey, I'm going to give a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it down. Okay, do you know how big this item? Because I
Right.
give them measurements. I give
Right.
everything on their
Wow.
product.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, but, or guess what, Sonia? Hold it. I'm sending you half.
Mm-hmm.
The shipper's going to come and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure enough.
Yep.
Shipper comes. She's on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. She calls you and says, thank you for the piece. I love it. Transaction completed.
Yeah. Very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. So, do you? How do we find you on Facebook and Instagram? Those are your two places, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're under Leroy's Trading Post, LLC. And we're just connected that way. And then again, you know, we try to, we don't do any other events because we were going to thought, well, maybe we need to go to, do we have to market ourselves out at some of these marketplaces?
Right.
I told my husband, what do you think we should do? And he says, no, you can't carry the furniture. And the glassware,
Yeah.
what if you break it? We drop a box and, you know,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of work because we see people in Stockdale
Yeah.
hauling stuff because they go to the flea markets or they go to markets.
Yeah.
I can't see myself doing
Right.
that with my stuff. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
People need to come to you.
they need to come to me. And how do they come? We need to be available.
Yeah.
We need to be available. We need to be watching. We also do appointments.
Oh,
We
great.
set appointments for them.
Great.
If a customer tells me, hey, Sonia, I'm coming from Dallas. I'll be there to visit my mom. Can I call you for an appointment to go in? Absolutely. So we do appointments.
Nice. Nice.
So again, thinking outside the box, I
Right.
think a lot of our businesses need to do that because I'm having to do that.
Bend to what the customer needs.
Exactly.
Right? Very
Exactly.
Cool. Wow. There's a lot to learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your hours? And also, tell us what your address is, actually.
Okay. So we are located in Stockdale, Texas. Our address is 601 Main Street,
Okay.
78160. And we are open Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
From Wednesday through Saturday, we are open from 10 to 5 p.m.
Okay.
And Sundays, we're only open from 12 to 4.
Okay.
Because, you know, there's people that come in and after church, they want to go do.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. We get, on Sundays, is the people passing through coming from somewhere out here and they're going to Corpus. They're
Yeah.
going home.
Yeah.
And those are the
That's
guys that we
when they-
catch.
Wow.
So
Okay.
finding those little times, and we're open, like I said. And the other thing we do have on our thing, on our sign is we can, you can set up an appointment. Just give us a call.
Great. And
and
what's
our-
that number?
Okay.
I will revisit and
Yes.
be sure that I add these details to the description of this Facebook
Uh-huh.
post. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to put that there. So, well, wonderful. This has been so interesting. Is there anything that you still want to mention while we're kind of in the last few minutes of our conversation? Did we leave anything out?
Well, the only thing I can tell you is that when we want to make a difference in our community, we want to be able to bring our Main Street back up in Stockdale. And we want to work with each other. But how better to do it through preserving our history?
Yeah.
What better way of engaging with each other? I think we're forgetting because technology is good, but there's nothing like face-to-face
Yeah.
coming in or meeting with people. Don't be afraid to take that step. If you're going to do this, know that there's some pros and there's some cons into this, like any other business, you know. And we normally have fun. And people come in, and we always learn from each other.
Right.
We find out things that they find out things from us. That we find out things from our customers, especially our baby boomers. They are so full of information,
Yeah.
you know. And not who's my customer? I mean, my customer is the millennium. Believe it or not, that is who's been buying from me. The years that I've been open, it's that millennium that's coming in.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because some of them are they're interior designers, and they're the ones buying for a customer.
Yeah.
And they're looking for that specific product.
Right.
The baby boomer comes in to buy replacements, mostly for glass.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's. I was surprised when we were looking when you sent the question. I was like,
Yeah.
I know who my customers, but let me make sure that sure enough, it's the millennium
Had you
that's buying our products.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you have been just fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Mhm.
And you have a lot to really offer to your community. You can tell that you are a wealth of information. And I can't wait to get by your store
Absolutely.
and see what you have there. I think that's going to be fun. I'll have to get by there very soon. But thank you all for joining us today. This has been great. Please share this video and get over to Stockdale and see what their Main Street has to offer. And stop in at Leroy's Trading Post and tell them you saw it in the Wilson County News. So we thank you for joining us. I want to thank our sponsor, Red Wing Shoes, located at 1413 Southwest Military Drive in San Antonio. That's same family, same location since 1969. Thank you for your sponsorship, Red Wing. And again, thank you all for joining us. Share this video, and we will be back next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hope to see you then. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.